They told me I could never jump over Oblivion's entire map. They said it was too hard, too far, impossible. Well, I say shut the hell up because I did it. No mods, no cheats, just cold hard glitches, determination, and the exaggerated swagger of a noir. Can I say that? I'm not sure. No offense. Today I'll be tackling the question, can I jump across the entire map in Oblivion Remastered? And let me tell you, this wasn't easy, but after around 20 hours I finally managed it. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. Let's go back to the beginning. Here's how to jump across the entire map in Oblivion Remastered. So Oblivion has always been known for its absurd glitches. Whether that's using paintbrushes to make floating stairs, creating spells that pack the same punch as a big boy from Fallout, or the Emperor surviving his assassination at the start of the game. I think it's safe to say that Oblivion is a glitchy, messy masterpiece. But it wasn't just the Elder Scrolls 4 that contained wacky features. Morrowind was also known for its insane array of madness. Now, I mention Morrowind because one of the core modes of travel past level 20 was literally flying across the map. Yeah, you could actually use magic to levitate and fly from one end of Vardenfell to the other. So it got me thinking, is there a way to jump across the entire map in Oblivion Remastered? Now, unlike Morrowind, there are no spells in Oblivion that allow for levitation. So knowing that, the first and most obvious thing to do would be to level up my acrobatics and speed. The higher my acrobatics, the higher I can jump. And the higher my speed, well, you get the idea. Max level speed gives the player a speed of around 150, which is fast, but nowhere near enough to zip across the map in an instant. And max level acrobatics allows the player to jump pretty high, but again, nothing that will get me to the other side of Cyrodiil. So feeling stumped, I consulted ChatGPT for some help. Chat told me that I could craft fortify acrobatics potions that would basically stack on top of each other. Meaning, if I drank 5 potions that increased my acrobatics by 100, I'd have an added 500 acrobatics skill. And so on, depending on how many potions I crafted and drank. But here's the thing, in order to create such powerful potions, I had to be at the master level of alchemy. So yeah, it was gonna be a slow ride to get where I needed to be, but I thought it would be worth it in the long run. You know, once I was easily jumping hundreds of miles at a time. So with plan A at the ready, I began the journey of leveling my alchemy skill to 100. Plan A. Okay, so the quickest way for me to get to level 100 in alchemy was to gather cheese and flour and then head to any container and do the duplication glitch on those ingredients. Now I had an infinite supply of ingredients to craft tons of low tier potions. Next I needed to buy a mortar and pestle to combine the flour and cheese into potions. From there I spam crafted potions and after about 5 minutes I was at level 100 alchemy. Yeah, the amount of exploits in this game is wild. Now I was at max alchemy level, I was almost ready to craft those juicy fortify acrobatics potions. But first, I needed a few ingredients. Flax seeds, stinkhorn caps, wisp stalk cap, tinder polypore caps. ChatGPT told me I could find most of these ingredients growing around Cyrodiil, notably the Great Forest and Valus Mountains, so I started with the forest. I searched for a while and stumbled across a plant called Morning Glory. I wondered what potion that would make and then continued my search until I finally found most of the required ingredients. I then had to search the Valus Mountains for tinder and finally I would be on my way. I was ambushed by a cretinous creature, but it was no match for my mighty prowess. I then found the final ingredients. Next I headed back to the Imperial City to do the duplication glitch, so that I was sure I had more than enough to make hundreds of potions. I wanted to be sure of an easy space launch after all. So because of that, I ended up having to literally carry my flax in front of my character because I duplicated so many that it was exceeding my carry capacity by hundreds of points. Wait. No. I dropped my flax.
What brings you here?
I can't find my flax. Where's it gone? Yeah, I dropped my flax and couldn't for the life of me find it again. But fear not, I remembered that my wizard tower had a garden, and so I travelled there and managed to get back the ingredients I'd lost. Time to make my potions. Wait, why is what? Okay, so I was adding the correct ingredients together, and the combined effect should have shown up as Fortify Acrobatics, but for some reason, it was showing generic magicka effects. So what was going on? I immediately messaged ChatGPT once again, and, well, this dude scammed me. I'm gonna be very blunt. Flax seeds plus stinkhorn caps in unmodded Oblivion do not both have Fortify Acrobatics as an active effect for alchemy. So bro literally just lied to my face earlier when they said I could make Fortify Acrobatics potions in unmodded Oblivion. Nah bro, because as of this moment, I had wasted 2 hours doing BS. So plan A, a complete fail. However, all was not lost. This was just one way to jump across the entire map of Oblivion. I still had plan B. It'll be worth it in the end, guys. Trust me. So when researching for plan B, I took to the internet as always in search of an answer and came across a 1-minute video that would supposedly allow me to jump across the map in unmodded Oblivion. It explains that they did it without cheats or using mods, using a weird method of combining different Fortify speed spells into a skeleton summon, then absorbing those spells, and boom! They fly across Cyrodiil in less than 10 seconds. Simple enough, right? Well, I pored over this YouTube video like an old archmage ponders his orb for days, because the wording used in this video left a lot of context up in the air. Get it? Air? Because we're jumping across the map? And if I was going to attempt this experiment myself, I needed to be extra sure I knew what I was getting myself into. So I had to create 3 custom spells. Spell 1 would contain the effects Weakness to Magic on Touch, Fortify Speed on Touch, and Command Creature on Touch. Now, Spell 2 actually contains the exact same effects as Spell 1, but when we create the spell, we shuffle those effects into a different order. The reason I needed to create 2 of virtually the same spell was because the game isn't supposed to allow these effects to stack. But because the effects are jumbled around between Spell 1 and 2, it tricks the game into stacking them, which means instead of Spell 2 cancelling out the effects of Spell 1 and vice versa, they build upon each other, making the Fortify Speed effect go from 100 to 100,000. I'll explain this in more detail when I get to it, because as of this moment I was kinda stuck. I had to create these spells at a spell crafting station, but my only issue was I didn't have access to the Arcane University in order to do so. And before you comment, yes, my wizard's tower literally has a spell crafting station, but my dumbass didn't even realize it. So, cue the unnecessary montage of me completing half of the Mages Guild to unlock spell crafting.
I expect this will end in disaster, but nonetheless, I will grant your request.
Oh, I can't believe I have to give this dead dude a reach around. Get out of the way! I can't believe you betrayed me! You were my brother! Don't mind if I take this, do you? I'm sorry, Rusia. It's for your own good. Are you deranged because you have no head, or because you're a zombie? Janine, wake up, wake up! I'm ready!
You've been to all the guild halls, haven't you?
Yes.
Well, then you're all set. Congratulations. Look at you. Moving up in the world. How wonderful.
So I finally had access to the spell crafting station, and I immediately got started crafting my flying spells. Oh, I didn't have enough gold to create the spells. So I made a quick detour to the market district to duplicate and sell a ton of soul gems until I had more than enough gold. Right, back to the spells. Oh, now I apparently needed level 100 restoration, of all things. So I ended up making a low-cost healing spell. I wrapped one of my girlfriend's hairbands around my controller so I could hold down cast spell while AFK, and I went out for a nice day in the sun. When I came back, I was only at level 50, so I watched a movie. Then finally, many grueling hours later, I was at level 100 restoration. Okay, so now I could create the spells needed to jump across the map, right? Wrong! When creating custom spells in Oblivion, in order to add certain effects, you must have already learned a spell containing said effect. And I didn't have any of those effects. So then, I would travel around Cyrodiil looking for mages that could sell me spells containing each of the effects I would add to my custom spells. Now, after doing all of these chores, I was finally able to make a long-lasting summon spell, speed spell 1, speed spell 2, and absorb effects. Thank God! Ugh. Wait, no, you're joking. You're joking me, surely. Because these spells were so OP, they required a ton of Magicka points to cast. Magicka points that I didn't have. So, and don't worry guys, this was the final hurdle to jump over. I had to do the famous infinite Magicka glitch. I'll just summarize what I had to do as to not bore you guys with the tiny details. So I had to create a drain Magicka spell that I could spam for ages until my Magicka was fully drained. Then I would enchant a piece of armor with a further drain Magicka effect that when equipped with Magicka already draining, the game would glitch out and turn my negative Magicka into positive Magicka. And basically the longer I casted the spell, the higher the negative positive Magicka flip would be. And I think I ended up with almost 20,000 magic points or something. And that was much more than enough to, at long last, cast the ultimate space mission spells. So, here we go. Wait, what? My skeleton summon kept attacking me before I could cast the absorb spell on his speed, but I could see it was working because my skelly was flying all over the place, so at least I knew I was on the right track. I messed around with the order of spell casting and such, and eventually I was seeing some progress. As you can see, after spamming the spells on the skeleton and absorbing, I was able to get my speed to around 4,000, and I made some good distance at flying across the map. But it was still nowhere near enough speed to cross all of Cyrodiil. Now I spent a good 2 hours or so trying to build my speed up to the amount that would send me flying. But I kept hitting roadblocks. Either my magic would run out, the summon would time out, or it would attack me and run away. The guy in the video I watched made it look so easy, and truthfully, by this point I was getting quite fed up and feeling like I'd failed. Feeling defeated, I took a break from this experiment and spent a good 20 hours making the Investigating Skooma Radix video that came out a few weeks ago. And it wasn't until the other day that I decided, you know what? I don't give up. I never give up. So I reapproached the glitch a little differently. Instead of spamming spell 1 tons of times, then spell 2, I thought maybe I was supposed to cast spell 1, then spell 2, then 1 again in that order, eventually topping it off with the absorb spell. Well, that was indeed the missing piece to the puzzle because, lo and behold, watch this. I was actually doing it. I was soaring through the skies of Cyrodiil, gliding over cities and floating over hills. After all of this work, it felt amazing. Honestly, it might seem like such a silly experiment with a mediocre outcome, but I was over the moon. Now I knew exactly what to do, I tried launching from a few different locations. Each time felt more fun than the last. One jump sent my character so far outside of Tamriel that all I could see around me was ocean. And something else I noticed was upon launching, my HUD would disappear from the screen and I'd basically be hard locked out of the game. When I would hit the ground and game end, it wouldn't trigger a save reload and I wouldn't be able to pause the game or anything. So I just had to watch my poor Dark Elf awkwardly sliding along the ground. One launch sent my character completely under the map. Now this felt like some ethereal kind of experience the further I fell. There didn't seem to be an endpoint, and I watched the landmass of Cyrodiil slowly fade into the distance as my character gracefully floated away like an angel. At a certain point, when the entire map was out of sight, it kinda looked like I was in space, floating around, just waiting to be beamed up into a star-filled spaceship or something. So yeah, I'm so happy that I was finally able to jump across the entire map in Oblivion Remastered. And honestly, this just goes to show how much you can mess with the game in an unmodded state with no console commands. And yeah, before you comment saying that I could have just done console commands to get infinite speed, there is absolutely no challenge or fun in that now, is there? I like to make it hard for myself, as painful as that may be. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for more wacky Elder Scrolls content, and whilst you're here, I bet you'll enjoy watching this video too. Check it out. See ya.